We are back on the record and adjourned from executive session. Our first call to order is the consent agenda.
We have two items on the consent agenda this evening. Approval of the minutes from the August 3rd, 2021 regular Piqua City Commission meeting. And then we have resolution number R6421, a resolution of appreciation for the public service of Jerry L. Fote as a city employee.
Jerry, will you come forward, sir? I always forget when I do these things, I need my glasses, but
You want mine?
we'll be all right. It's heck getting old. All right, so it's a resolution of appreciation for the public service of Jerry L. Fote as a city employee. Whereas Jerry L. Fote retired as a police lieutenant in the Piqua Police Department with the city of Piqua, and whereas his retirement follows over 25 years of faithful and dedicated service to the city and its citizens, now therefore be it resolved by the Commission of the City of Piqua, Miami County, Ohio, all members elected thereto concurring, in recognition and appreciation of the public service of Jerry L. Fote. The resolution shall take effect from, be enforced from this period on.
Want a picture? You want some pictures?
Yes, some pictures would be nice. My man, he's gonna take some pictures here. I like holding your hand, not as much as Sharon, but. All right.
Thanks.
I am so proud to announce also that Jerry is now a coworker of mine, and I'm happy to have him down at the NVCCC where I work at. I look forward, I never see him, but he's in his own building. Thank you, Jerry, for all you've done.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations.
All right, next, I guess I'll take approval. I need a motion for approval of the consent agenda.
I make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next is new business. Ordinance number, is that 0 or O?
And that's, oh, yes.
Oh, O-3-21, first reading.
An ordinance repealing existing Chapter 33.03 and enacting a new Chapter 33.03 of the Piqua Code relating to employee holidays. Catherine Bogan, Human Resources Director, will present the staff report.
Thank you, Karen. Good evening, Commissioners. As you know, Congress, President Biden, and Governor DeWine have declared Juneteenth a federal holiday. A modification of Chapter 33 will allow the inclusion of this holiday for all employee groups within the city of Piqua, including those represented by collective bargaining.
Any questions from the commission? So it's a federal holiday at this point, and we just want to make it a Piqua employee holiday as well.
Yes, we're going to add it to the existing employee holiday
Pretty
schedule.
simple. Pretty simple. Any questions from the citizens? Nope. We'll make this a first reading then.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is resolution number R-59-21, amended.
An amended resolution authorizing a purchase order to Century Equipment, Inc. for the purchase of 36 golf carts for Echo Hills Golf Course. Amy Welker, Health and Sanitation Director, will be presenting the next two staff reports.
Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. This resolution is actually one you saw previously. With our apologies, the amount indicated the last time you approved this legislation was incorrect. So we're bringing it back to you tonight with the corrected amount. I think there was a discrepancy in the number of quotes that the company had sent along, and the one that was utilized by the finance department last reading had expired. So this is an updated cost with the correct amount this time. So
More?
we're asking to proceed with the purchase of these carts that we had on lease.
Is it more or less?
It's more.
How much more?
I believe the last time it came at, I want to say it was 76,000, and it's now at the 95.
So what's the difference?
So,
What accounts for the increase is what I'm asking, I guess.
yeah, so I think what has happened is golf carts are in high demand.
Batteries?
Batteries, and the fact during COVID, I think production had shut down, just like every other commodity we're looking at. And so there just aren't carts out there. So these carts are now worth more. So the company did modify their quote on the purchase.
I will say on the last time when we were taking a look at this, looking at the cost of carts, they definitely have gone up, and I was a bit shocked we were gonna get that good of a deal to
Yeah.
begin with. So, it still will be a savings for us versus having to renew
Yeah,
or-
absolutely, and I don't even think that we could get carts at this point. It would be at least over a year before anyone could even provide us any. So I think this is our best bet to move forward.
Any other questions from the commission? Questions from the citizens? I'll entertain a motion then.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution R-59-21.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next is resolution number R-73-21.
A resolution to levy assessments to pay for the cost of nuisance abatements.
Commissioners, this is the annual ordinance we bring to, or resolution rather, that we bring forward to levy assessments on properties for nuisance abatements that happen throughout the year. So what happens is the department receives complaints from citizens, an inspector investigates those, notifies the property owner if there's a code violation, and they're given an opportunity to correct that issue. If they fail to do so, then we hire contractors to abate the situation, whether that be mowing grass, picking up trash, maintenance issues, those types of things. If the contractor then provides an invoice, which is costed back to the property owner along with any administrative fees and penalties. If they fail to pay that invoice, then it shows up here as an assessment to go on to the property taxes. We have to have this resolution to the county auditor by the second Monday in September.
Any questions from the commission?
I got one question. When you look at this list, is there any possible way, and I'm just asking this, to start publishing this in the paper?
We could look at that. We publish it on our website. So all of the assessments, once the commission approves them quarterly, we post them on our website.
Yeah.
So it's available to the public at any time.
And I know there's a few other towns that do take the liberty to post it in the newspaper. That way they can, the citizens start seeing what's going on really.
Right.
So if we could look into that, I'd greatly appreciate it.
Sure.
Not just that, I think there's a billboard in Sydney that posts stuff like that
Yeah.
as well. So that's not a bad idea. So, I'm not on there, I'm positive. So I was very happy to see that this time. But, any questions from the citizens? All right, I'll entertain a motion at this point in time.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution R-73-21.
Second.
All right, moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Guess next on the agenda is resolution number R-74-21.
A resolution for consent to apply to the Ohio River Basin H2 Ohio Wetland Grant Program. Kevin Craney, Utilities Director, will present the staff report.
Thank you, Karen. Commissioners, 2 meetings ago, we came to you with a resolution for design on a Franz Ditch swale. This is a grant that we're looking to apply for. It's due September 30th. We're going to apply for this grant and look for funding for that project, and hopefully in future years, keep applying to this grant for future fundings. And these are mainly related to wetlands and nutrient removal from the waterways. So, we recommend approving it.
So is this a grant we've never applied for before?
This is a new grant, yes.
Nice. Any other questions from the commission? I'm all for getting free money, so any questions from the citizens? I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we adopt resolution number R-74-21.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And the last one on the agenda is resolution number R-75-21.
An emergency resolution to accept the material terms of the One Ohio subdivision settlement pursuant to the One Ohio Memorandum of Understanding and consistent with the terms of the July 21st, 2021 National Opioid Settlement Agreement. Frank Petruzio, the Law Director, will present information with regard to this resolution.
The state auditor sent us information about a possible settlement of the opioid dispute with some of the distributors. And each state or each city in the state of Ohio that was a participant in is a participant in the allocation of funds. However, you must submit the form and agree to the settlement. Piqua is may be entitled to $122,602.36. It still has to go back to some litigation process. The earliest that we would receive money is next year in mid-July. If it's all approved, we may not receive anything, but we have to submit this form to be in the game. And so that's why I'm asking that the commission adopt this.
Any question from the commission? Questions from the citizens? What can the money be used for?
I'm not sure at this point. This is money coming to us basically to reimburse part of the cost of the cities dealing with the opioid crisis over the last 10 years. It's
A lot
not
of
near
things.
enough. You know that, and
Yeah,
I know that.
I definitely know
But,
that, yeah.
We're certainly not going to turn $122,000 away either.
No,
I assume it will go into the general fund, but
that'd be great. It could use it. If there are no questions, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution number R-75-21.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next on the agenda is public comment. This is an opportunity for citizens to address the city commission regarding items, issues, or to provide information. Comments are requested to be limited to 5 minutes, and specific questions should be addressed to the city manager's office. Anybody would like to come forward? No? We do have some people in the audience, good people. We appreciate you coming. And she's taking her own advice and saying, she's getting involved and coming, and I like that. So thank you. You have no idea how often I've used that since you said that, so thank you. At this point, then, we'll move over to the city manager's report.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice
Sir.
Mayor, and Commission. So this evening, Chris Schmeezing has an economic development update for you, and then I'll proceed into my city manager's report.
This is good stuff right here. Thank you. What I'll do here is I want to highlight for you a little bit of the activity that's been happening over the past quarter in both community development and economic development because you can't be successful in one without the other. So just to kind of run down through the list here for you and give you a snapshot of some of the things that we've been working on and/or projects that are happening or about to happen, I'll summarize as we go. The PolySource project, as you'll recall, started last year, and that's a 180,000 square foot expansion to their existing facility, which virtually doubles the size of their building. And that's a $6.5 million project and is expected to be complete here in the next month or so. Aesthetic Finishers on South Main Street also has commenced work with their expansion project, which will include an addition to the building and also upgrading the existing parking lot improvements to be asphalt and landscaping. So that'll be a nice improvement at the entryway of the community. Harmony Systems just recently announced the acquisition of the former Protomold building. So that will become Harmony Systems Plant Number 2, and it dramatically increases their production capacity and their ability to continue to grow. Classic Metal Roofing Systems recently installed a new press and continues to invest in their equipment. We were able to help petition Jobs Ohio at the state level for a $25,000 jobs inclusion grant to assist with their work there. At the Sherry Industrial Park, you're familiar with the two new buildings, the two 20,000 square foot buildings that the development family has created out there. We're seeing a tremendous amount of activity on both of those buildings in terms of interest. One building is under contract and the other, I suspect, will be here very soon, both with nice uses for the location. The Cromus property, the 90 acres out along I-75, here again, there's 16 acres that are under contract with an end user that we anticipate will be ready to announce something here soon, and their project will involve the construction of a 40,000 square foot building improvement and the creation of 20 or more jobs as part of what they'll be doing there. In addition, the balance of that 90 acres is also under contract by a party interested in potentially occupying a portion of the land and or developing the remainder that they wouldn't use for their own purposes. Fortec USA, we recently were able to reconnect with John Fiola, who represents the business. You'll recall Fortec is the group that purchased the old Orr-Felt building down on South Main Street. They were well on their way to restarting the operations with the loom down there just prior to the arrival of the pandemic. So that really put things on hold for the past year and a half or so. They're now back on site and ramping things up and hope to get operations started here by the end of the year. The highest and best use analysis you've heard me refer to previously, Grow Piqua Now has commissioned that report, and we expect to receive that by the end of this month. That document was really geared towards engaging with the site selection community to better understand as we have these opportunities to develop, say, the Cromus site or some of the land east of I-75 or south of the community, what would be the highest and best use of those properties that would provide us with the greatest return on investment as we extend utility infrastructure to support the development. We want to make sure that the jobs created and the investments made are what would give the community the greatest benefit. So that report will give us some great insights there. In addition to the earlier grant that I referenced, we were also successful in petitioning on behalf of a project that will be announced here soon to secure a $100,000 Jobs Ohio revitalization grant in support of that project. And then along the lines of financing, we've continued work on preparing the legislation and the documents necessary to present to you for consideration PACE financing program, which is Property Assessed Clean Energy. We are, the municipality, we are updating our lighting on the streets and our public facilities. So as part of the lighting update on the parking lot facility here, that will allow us to be able to use that as the petitioning project to be able to launch the PACE program. You need to have a project petitioning to be able to set the program up initially. So look for that very soon. Likewise, we're continuing to work with a consultant who we've engaged to help us put together the documents necessary to establish a downtown redevelopment district. That's a funding mechanism available to us through the Ohio Revised Code, that as we begin to see the anticipated investments in the downtown area, that program will allow us to capture the increase in valuation on those properties so that we can put that back into the public infrastructure improvements that will be necessary to support those investments. So things like extending the streetscape on Main from where it stops now all the way down to Wood Street, or creating some additional parking lots, things of that nature, which the city or the public entity would ordinarily foot the bill for, which become necessary because of those other private sector activities. So this will give us a funding mechanism to be able to help pay for those improvements. Other exciting news, of course, Scottish Thistle held their grand opening in the past month. By all accounts, things are going very well. The response has been positive. They have dealt with a minor blip in terms of staff becoming unavailable for a period, but they're back on track and things are up and running again. And everybody I've talked to is really enjoying the offerings there and the atmosphere, and so far so good. So we wish them nothing but success, and we're excited to see the amount of support that the community's given them so far. Likewise, this past Saturday, we had an exciting announcement that was shared at the Downriver Down a Beer event. Crooked Handle Brewing Company from Springboro has announced that they will be opening a second location here in Piqua. They have the property at Water and Main Street under contract, and they expect to close on that and start construction later this fall, we think perhaps as early as October. If you're not familiar with Crooked Handle, I would tell you that they are a quality operation. They do a very good food product, and of course their craft beers are also outstanding. So I think it's going to be a great addition to the community, and all the comments I've heard since Saturday evening have been very positive. So very excited for that project. Likewise, as we talk about food offerings, Starbucks, you've heard me mention before, has submitted for their permits for their project at Ash and Looney. They're working through some last final details with an easement agreement they need from Verizon. And then once they get that document signed, they'll be ready to break ground on their $1 million investment, which they hope to begin as early as September 1. Also in that neck of the woods, out to the east of the Wright Pack Credit Union improvements that were just opened here recently, that lot has been purchased and is under contract by a developer who's developing it as a Hardee's restaurant. They too expect to break ground this fall and hope to be open early next year. Downtown, 319 North Wayne Street is the property that VSF Investments continues to make improvements to. If you've not been by there at the corner of Wayne and Ash Street, the new windows, the new roof you can't see, but the interior renovations, all of those things are happening. It's a very substantial investment in a prominent building in our downtown, and we couldn't be more pleased with what's happening there. The Piqua Arts and Innovation Center is what it's been dubbed. So the developer has a vision for what this location would be, and I think it's something that could be a very positive contributor to our downtown entrepreneurial ecosystem at the end of the day. So we're excited to see that project progress. Likewise, at the corner of Ash and Spring Street, the former Dairy Bar and the old Dunson property, we have preliminary submittals from Well Now, which is an urgent care chain, and they expect to break ground later this year and hope to have their establishment open the beginning of 2022. We've seen some initial renderings, and it's a very attractive building, pulled forward on the lot, parking in the rear, and I think we'll make a great addition to that intersection as you arrive in our downtown, and the impression that you have when you first arrive in our downtown. So excited for that project. The Wood Street Lofts is complete, and the building is open and being occupied. The owner, St. Mary's Development, reports that it's over 50% leased, so they're very excited with the progress they're making and how quickly it's leasing up. And this is 54 units of workforce housing, so it's a high-quality product that's
Very affordable.
Market rate in terms of the rents, convenient in terms of walkability to the downtown, and something that, frankly, we need. So very excited to have that project come online. That was a $15 million investment. The cottages at Garbury Ridge, which are independent living units targeted towards the 55-plus community, they have added 5 more duplexes, or I should say started 5 more duplexes this past quarter. I think that may fill out the remainder of the lots out there. All total, there'll be 16 structures with 2 units in each, 32 units total. And those are, the response for those has been overwhelming. So the developer has certainly, I think, hit the nail on the head in terms of a pent-up demand we have in our community for a 55-plus type neighborhood, the independent living type environment, and the ease of maintenance in terms of the cottage home floor plan that they've come up with. So footnote to that is we're actually talking with another developer who is also interested in doing a 55-plus project. I'm confident there's a significant amount more in demand than what the Garbury Ridge site will be able to fill. We've also saw 3 new housing starts, single-family housing units at the Arrowhead subdivision on the southwest side of town. Excited to see some activity there. Pleased to see those lots filling up. Again, the addition of new housing inventory is something that we need, something that we're really working on, and conversations we're having with a number of developers throughout the region, sharing with them the opportunities we have here in Piqua, doing everything we can to encourage them to come to Piqua and build new homes. One of our existing builders, the Indian Ridge builders out at the Point Indian Ridge, also applied for 3 new single-family dwelling unit permits this past quarter. So activity continues in the subdivision there, and they're adding new units every quarter, so that's a very positive sign. In regards to workforce development, this August 26th, here in just a week or so, there'll be a Miami County Job Fair held at Hobart Arena. That is open to anyone from the public. There will be over 70 employers from the Miami County region who will be attending. They'll have booths. They'll be there to engage with folks and let them know what kind of job opportunities they have. Over 20 of the participating businesses are businesses from Piqua. So I would strongly encourage anybody that might be looking for employment or know someone looking for employment to please share this date and time with them. Again, that's August 26th at Hobart Arena, and it's an all-day event. Flyers will be available down in our lobby. We'll also post that to our social media. Actually, I think we already have, but we'll make sure that's out there. In terms of some of the public infrastructure improvements related to some of these activities, the Water and Spring Street parking lot is substantially complete. We still have a little bit of landscaping to do there, but otherwise it's finished. It's been very well received. We've heard nothing but positive comments. You'll recall $130,000 of the expense was covered by a USDA grant that you all approved, and we were successful in securing. The Lock 9 Park project will resume this October, and I'm excited to share with you, as you already know, some of the public may not have heard, but we've received a $500,000 grant from the ODNR Land and Water Conservation Fund program. So the string attached to that is that we don't get the formal award notice until October 1. So hence the reason for delaying any more activity there until October 1. Once we receive that funding, though, we have the capital stack put together, and we're ready to roll with the everything from the canal walls to the west out to the intersection. So everything that will wrap around the Crooked Handle microbrewery project. So as their project starts, the Lock 9 Park improvements will be restarting, and the completion of both phases or both projects should coincide
One
next
less
summer.
complaint from people in Piqua. Thank you.
Yes. Trust me, no one's becoming more impatient with that than I am.
I hear you.
Excited to get it going again. And then finally, the DORA, which you all approved recently, has been submitted to the state. We anticipate about a 3-week period of time before the approval is received back from them, so that puts us at about September 1. We've solicited for signage and trash receptacles, and we've got our plan in place to be able to install those and get everything up and running around that date. So all 3 of those last items were instrumental, quite frankly, in recruiting Crooked Handle to our community, and their project will be a $2 million investment. But also, you know, when you think about the Lock 9 Park improvements, the DORA and the vibe it creates in the downtown, stepping up and making the investment in the public parking lot and the public infrastructure, all of those things matter in terms of the other projects that are in the pipeline and very near starting and not quite ready to announce, so I won't go into a great level of detail on the others. But in total, you've got Lock 9 townhomes, Zolo, the Winans Roastery project and several other smaller projects that will end up being about a $20 million to $30 million investment in our downtown area. So the investment we're making in Lock 9 Park is a very small number, relatively speaking, when you think about the return on investment you're going to get from the private sector activity, let alone the ongoing property taxes and jobs created and amenities available to our community. So that's why we do those things. And then lastly, just a few comments related to housing activities or property maintenance. So we've had ongoing conversations with the Miami County Development Department. We've been able to get them to proceed with pursuing actions on the McDonald's property out on the west side of town.
Thank goodness.
That is now in the hands of the prosecutor. I was told just this morning that Gator Investments responded to them, saying that they're actually going to put a new roof on it, and they're going to secure it, and they're going to try to continue to market and sell it. They have engaged a lawn maintenance company to mow and trim once a week, which seems pretty commonsensical to me. I don't know why it took this long for them to come to that conclusion, but that's the update I received this morning. And then regarding the Kmart building, I'm informed that the notices they had sent there have been satisfied. That is, the building is once again secure, although they left the order open. So should the building become vandalized again or unsecure, they will reactivate the notice and put the owner back on notice to get things under control. I just had a conversation with the owner this morning concerning some interest in the property that it had gotten back to me that upon their expressing a desire to buy the property, the asking price became unrealistic. So just having a conversation with her about market realities and what the property is really worth, and encouraging her to please facilitate something positive happening there. So we'll see if that gets us anywhere. In the spirit of property maintenance, I would just share with you that we continue to move forward with the property maintenance activity that we've been working on since 2016 when it was shifted over to the development department. Since then, there have been 1,226 cases opened. 82% of those have been resolved, so over 1,000 of them have been resolved. Of the remaining 18%, about 95 of those 194 properties are cases where it's either to the status where the law director letter has been sent, it's been complaint to the court has been filed, or their court action is pending, or they're bank-owned or walk-away properties. So these are the most difficult properties to deal with and the ones that often consume the most of our time and our resources, but they're the ones that probably are the most blighting influence in those neighborhoods as well. So we continue to work on those, and we continue to work on code enforcement in a proactive manner, in a fair but firm manner. And then lastly, related to that, you may have noticed coming in this evening, our community-wide demolition program is underway. So we have allocated $120,000 of our community development block grant monies towards the removal of blight. So those properties that are often vacant or abandoned walkaways, or there's just no property owner available to hold accountable, we've had to become more resourceful in figuring out how to remove those structures. In some instances, we've purchased for the purpose of assembling the land for redevelopment activity. So there are 8 properties this year that will be dealt with. They include the 3 structures on Main Street, 112 and 114 South Main and 120 South Main, which are now on the ground. We have environmental abatement activity underway on 218 North College, 624 Broadway, and 429 Young Street. Once the abatement work, the asbestos abatement is complete, those will go out for demolition bids, and we'll have those down probably in the next couple months. And then finally, 500 McKinley Avenue and 808 McKinley Avenue. Those both have a demolition contract on them and should be coming down here very soon. So we'll continue with those efforts. We had a really good meeting with the county representatives this past week, Mr. Oberdorfer and I, and just getting up to speed on what they're doing with establishing a land bank program, which is a tool that's available to counties to be able to help us with dealing with some of these issues that I just described. And what's really unique and attractive about a land bank program is that the state oftentimes makes funding sources available, whether it's through law settlements and funds that they happen to become available. They'll send those to those land banks to be able to do that work that is otherwise difficult to fund And so if the county becomes able to fund some of these projects on our behalf, it'll certainly lessen the burden that we have to carry in terms of trying to take care of some of these derelict structures that need to be removed and are otherwise hampering the property values and hindering reinvestment opportunities in these neighborhoods. So stuff that we'll continue to focus on, and we'll continue to work with the county to make sure that Piqua has its needs presented properly, and we can secure as much support from them as possible. And then lastly, I just want to share with you some information about a new program we just recently were informed of. It's called NeighborLink Miami Valley. If you Google it, or the actual domain address is nlmv.org, neighborlinkmiamivalley.org. It is a program that's set up. It's a faith-based nonprofit program that is really designed to connect people with needs in terms of, maybe they've got a small repair they need to have performed at their property and they lack the resources or the ability to do that, to be able to connect them with volunteers from the community who are interested in being able to do those things to help out their neighbors or folks in the community. So it's essentially a portal where volunteers can submit their name and information about the talents they have that they can offer, and likewise individuals in search of support to help deal with those circumstances that they can't do on their own can submit their information, and then through the website it matches folks up and provides them with the opportunity to work with one another to resolve the issue. So really excited to see that program launched. We've talked with the Piqua Compassion Network, and they're working on rolling that out to our church community to make sure everyone's aware of it. Even beyond the faith-based groups, it's an opportunity for any organization in the community, our neighborhood associations, or any other volunteer group or group of individuals, to jump on there and be a part of doing something positive for the community. So again, that's called NeighborLink Miami Valley. Website is www.nlmv.org.
That's very informative. I like that. I know former Commissioner Joe Wilson was interested in doing something similar to this, and if he can network with them and get his people involved, this would be great to do some of the projects that he has in mind. So I'll pass that on to him. I'll make sure. Any other questions from the commissioners?
Just real quick, you talked about potential jobs coming to town for one end user. With the other two end users that are looking at the Sherry sites, is there any possible numbers on employment there? Do you know?
I don't know exact numbers from the end users, but if I were to hazard a guess, I would say they're probably 10 each. They're 20,000 square foot buildings, not terribly large, but I would anticipate the type of uses that they're talking about would probably employ about 10 people. Great. And that's in addition to, as I mentioned, there are over 20 employers from Piqua who will be at the job fair. But you can just throw a dart, and any of the businesses that it lands on would tell you they need 20, 30, 50 people next week. So Evenflow, French Oil, Harmony Systems, there's just, like I say, there's 20 of them participating in the job fair, but I know there's more than that in terms of folks who are looking for able-bodied individuals who are willing to work. We've actually had some success through the Chamber of Commerce and a connection that Kathy has made, referring some of our businesses to an employment agency that has, they're using migrants and helping get them to the job locations to be able to fill those jobs and fulfill our workforce needs.
I think it's important people are reminded of the information you shared about Lock 9 getting started again in October. And that fact that that whole project, bringing the brewery and bringing about $20 million worth of revenue or to the city is important. Also benefits some of our small businesses along Main Street as well. So if we can bring more people down to that area, we want them to use those businesses down there as well. So. You're full of good news today.
Thank you.
Can this information be detailed and listed on the website?
We can put a summary of what I just shared with you
Yes.
together and
Like
post that to the
so people,
website.
we can reference it. I'll Facebook it, Twitter it, Instagram it, whatever, so it gets out. People need to hear there are jobs for one, and that Lock 9's getting done, because that's all I ever hear complaints. Well, I hear other complaints, but those are the major items. So, anybody else? Nope. Thank you. That was painless.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks,
you're welcome.
appreciate
It
it.
was full of good news.
Absolutely.
Anything
Lots of good
further,
things
sir?
happening.
Yes, I have two items this evening. I wanted to follow up on the power outage that occurred on Friday. So Friday at approximately 1:08 PM, we experienced a 69,000 volt transmission interruption on our Dayton Power and Light Northwest transmission line. Our crews verified that it was actually a turkey buzzard that landed on the line and arced between 2 points and took down the system. The fault was reflected through the Piqua transmission system, resulting in the protective relay preemptively de-energizing Piqua substation number 1 transformer for the protection of the equipment. The action resulted in power outage to approximately a third of the city, including downtown and customers to the south. The power system personnel were able to restore power to the impacted customers by diverting supply from substation 3 on Sunset over to substation 5 on 25A. The service to the majority of the customers were restored within about an hour, which is way less than what is normally found in other locales. The power system personnel have since verified the integrity of the system and the equipment and plan on restoring substation 1 on Wednesday. And I just want to give them a shout out because they not only reacted, we leaned on a former employee that happened to be in town with all that institutional knowledge
I love
who
it.
came to the rescue because those are the type of employees that we have. So kudos to them.
That's great.
My last report will be, I just want to announce that RJ Monier will be starting Monday in the utility business office. We're looking forward to having him start and bringing a new customer service model and impact to that office. And
Yep.
so we're excited to see him and openly welcome him.
Agreed.
That's on my report, sir.
All righty. Any questions from the commission? Nope. All right, we'll have commissioners' comments, and we will start with Commissioner Foat.
I actually don't have anything to say tonight.
Gasp and swoon. I just caught the vapors. I can't believe that.
I'm not saying it.
Next, Commissioner Pearson.
I want to congratulate Jerry Foat on his retirement and his new job. Also, wanted to remind folks to get out and pull their weeds and mow their grass. If there's a neighbor down the street that is having some problems, there are people out there who are willing to help.
Will they be on a list if they don't?
Yeah.
And will that list be on the paper?
It could be, very well, yes.
Okay.
So, yes, and thanks to Chris for the update. It's great.
Yeah.
I'm excited. It's a good thing. Thank you.
Commissioner Grissom.
Thank you. First off, welcome Mr. Monier on. I think he'll be a great addition to the team. And also thank Jerry for all his service over the years. 25, appreciate everything that you've done for the city. Also wanted to thank Wade Westfall for coming down for the town hall. That was very engaging. Love that people were down there. It's starting to grow. I'm sad to see that was our last session. So definitely either next year or something like, wouldn't mind bringing
might have
something like that
another
back.
one,
So, and yeah, thanks Cindy for putting that together.
Yes, thank you, Cindy.
Wanted to give an update on medical marijuana dispensary. Haven't talked about that in a while. Really no update. I know they, in May, presented about adding additional licenses, which seemed overwhelmingly approved. But they're still waiting to open up the application for people to apply for a license. I've been trying to monitor that. They had a meeting at the Board of Pharmacy last Thursday, which is now back in Columbus, so it was or no longer virtual, so I couldn't attend to see. But so as things evolve, I'll be sure to try to keep people updated. And then I did want to thank our electric company. I had multiple people reach out to me due to the shutoff, and then they'd send a message back, never mind, it's already up and running. So, yeah, a lot of people said within like 45 minutes, so that's super impressive, and really appreciate their service for that. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Commissioner Hines.
This past weekend, we had Down a River, Down a Beer. We had over 400 people down there, which was wonderful. It was a perfect weather night. It was beautiful, and it was great to see. It really has turned into a destination event, so we have a lot of people who come from outside our community to take part in that. And we did have the announcement of Crooked Handle, which I know, Chris, thank you for all the work that you've done for that. I know it's been a long time coming, and it's really exciting for our community to have that now announced and in the works. Also want to remind people our first home football game is this Friday night, so we are into football season at the high school, so come out and support your Piqua Indians. Also, on August 21st, we have Rock Piqua, which will be downtown, and the Duck Drop, another great event that happens in our community for folks to get out and just enjoy the wonderful atmosphere and for all that those events offer our citizens. And then also Dancing with the Piqua Stars is August 28th, which is another wonderful event that goes to support our Arts Council here in our community. And also just want to say a huge thanks to Lieutenant Fote, known as Officer Fote, to so many of our young people in the community. I think about the good work that he has done for Piqua City Schools for so many years. So many of our kids know who Officer Fote is, and we just wish him the best in his retirement and thank his family for all the support they have given him over the years to serve our community in the ways that he has. So thank you. That's all I have.
All right. And my report is pretty simple. I want to thank the people who are in the audience that have come. Not only did they say that, you know, if you're going to be part of the change, then you be part of the solution, you got to be part of the change. They're here and they're participating, and I appreciate them coming. So everyone's welcome. Please come down to the meetings and participate and be part of the solution. I do want to thank Jerry Fote for his 25 years of service. 20 of those years I worked with him, had a great time working with Jerry. I was glad to find him the opportunity to work and do what he likes. He likes being in the classroom. He's teaching high school students policing, and he's going to do a great job. We're looking forward to working with him down there, and I'm just very happy for him and his family. And the city greatly benefited, but we did lose all that experience because anytime I had any gun issues or problems or questions about knives, I went to Jerry, and Jerry was Johnny on the spot with the information. I want to thank our utilities department, the electric department, for getting the power back on as quickly as they did. I had probably 10 calls in 15 minutes, and by the time I got the last call, they said, never mind, and the power was back on. I was very happy. And 9 times out of 10, they say, I just heard a trivia question, it's usually a squirrel that causes a power outage. Our case was a turkey buzzard, I guess. So I figured it was animal related, so it's kind of funny. But the diligent work and hard work of our utilities workers got it back on, and help from a retired worker. I think it's just awesome. It speaks volumes. I'd like to thank Chris Smeezing for the informative update. People, there are jobs out in this community. Also, Lock 9 is getting worked on, and there are new businesses coming to town. But you've got a great Main Street in downtown. Utilize all the businesses down there, but you know what's coming. Once Lock 9 gets done and the brewery gets done and some of the other projects, it's going to be a destination spot for a lot of people. And yes, it will be like some other communities, but we'll have our Piqua brand on it. So just be positive and a little patient, and these activities or these projects are going to get done. A lot of people like to point out the negatives. We like to stay with the positive, and you know it's going to happen. And football is happening in Piqua on Friday. If you got nothing to do, go watch the Piqua Indians play. They are expected to be one of the best teams in the GWAC. I'm looking very forward to this, and I proudly say I've got a cousin that plays, he's a wide receiver and that plays on the team. This kid is dynamite, so I watch him, I support him, and I look forward to him. I also have to say that Layman is playing in Sydney on Friday as well. I have a son that's a freshman, and this is the third son that I've had play high school football, and I get nervous each and every time. So if you're in the Sydney area and you want to see a football game, you can go there. But you Pickwads need to go see the Pickwa Indians as well. So looking forward to a lot of positive changes in the future here throughout the city. We are well poised, and we are being very well positioned by the diligent work of all our city employees and the knowledge of a great city manager to propel us into the future. We will be where we should have been 20 years ago, but we're getting there. It just takes time, and I want people to be patient, give us the time to get where we need to be. We're getting there. We really are. And work with us, not against us. Stay positive, and let's focus on the future. And with that, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.